Yo, Kefs Guy here. Hey, we are back at John Paul's house because if you haven't been watching the channel often, he is the new owner of my KEF R11s because I've upgraded to 1528s. Well, upgraded. We're going to find that out in today's video. What we're going to do is put these side by side and play the same music in the same movies and see what the true difference is. The R11s are regarded as one of the best speakers for the price and maybe even a little bit more than what they cost. The 1528s are truly a bang for your buck where you're getting way more power and way more sound and dynamics than what you pay for. So I decided to bring them in this room to put them to a showdown. That's what we're going to do today. So how we're going to do this, John Paul did an AVR, a little bit different than what I'm using at my house, but he does have a really nice power amplifier. We're going to put about 250 watts to each speaker. So moderate power, they could use some more, but we're going to use what's on tap. We're going to play about 3 or 4 different music clips for you guys. I know you guys won't be able to hear it the way that we will, but I want you to get an idea of what we're listening to. So we will be playing about 4 music clips, about 30 seconds on each speaker. I'll A/B test it for you guys so you guys can hear. And then I'm going to play maybe a movie or two, a couple clips of movies to see how they do for home theater. I know Clips. I said Clips because he has clips in here. I know KEF has a really good knack for music. They're neutral. They sound really good for music. So I want to see how the Arendals sound against the Kefs when it comes to music. But I think the Arendals will be a wash. I think it'll destroy the Kefs in home theater. So we're going to find that out right now. Stay tuned if you want to see that. And leave me comments as you guys watch the video. What do you think is going to be the better speaker? The 1528s or the KEF R11s? Let me know down below. Watch the whole video and let's see if you are right. Let's get it.
What was that? That was a mistake.
Next time you shoot somebody, don't go near them till you're sure they're dead.
What was that? That was a mistake.
Next time you shoot somebody, don't go near them till you're sure they're dead.
That's good. All right, guys. So we did music and movie demo. Kef versus Arendal. He hasn't ever heard Arendal before, and I haven't heard any of these speakers in this room. So, of course, I'm going to bring him on screen because I'm using this room, so it's only right that you get an appearance. But I'm going to limit you. You have 1 minute and 45 seconds. 1 minute and 45 seconds to tell me which speaker you thought was best for music and why. Go.
Oh dear. So the Arendals definitely sounded bigger. The KEF, it's almost like they were limited. They're incredible speakers. It just makes me sound very spoiled just to say that one is horrible, one's great, because they're both as much as some people would pay for a car. And but the Arendals definitely sounded bigger. They have a similar timbre, I noticed. Like, it's not like the difference between SVS and KEF, for example. Of course, it's very drastic. But, I mean, you can definitely tell the dual 8s. Definitely, they just sound very big. And I was thinking, like, well, 16 inches worth of speaker versus, whatever that would be, 24, whatever on these. Yep. You would think, but mass versus quantity, I guess. And they have the whatever, I forget what that's called, but the
curve. The curve you're talking about?
Oh well, the tweeter where it.
Oh, the Kefs.
On the Arendals where it just.
Oh, like the
waveguide.
Yeah,
it's the waveguide, and the Kefs don't have that.
Right.
I guess they kind of do.
They do, but just not as dramatic.
Mm-hmm. And just looking at the tweeter on the Arendal looks bigger than the tweeter on the KEF, and they're just ginormous. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, you're talking this versus this, so there's only so much you can do, and the port's bigger, so moves a lot of air, and definitely more bass. I mean, goodness gracious, if they were tuned right, they could sound like, they sound bigger than my subs, not as much output. They probably could if they were tuned right in here, but they sound as big as they look.
That's it. Oh, good stop. We will stop. All right. So I agree with what he said for the most part. There isn't very much of a timbre difference. We were trying to really sit down and decide what was different, not what was necessarily better, but what was different between the Kefs and the 1528s. And you can, if I was to unplug one and quickly plug it to the other speaker within seconds, I would be able to tell you which one. I think after spending some time, you can probably tell me which speaker's plugged in. The biggest giveaway is bass.
Yep.
The Kefs after 30 hertz, it's kind of gone a little bit. You can kind of hear it trying, but it's gone. We put a 20 hertz test tone in his room, and it vibrated everything. And I've been telling him through text or whatever, dude, my room is going nuts, blah, blah, blah. And it was cool to bring it into a room probably 2.5 times bigger than mine, and the Arendals still played 20 hertz with some super authority. I mean, vibrated all the way to the back room. It sounded like subs were on. His subs he has can't play that low. So it was really cool to experience that in this room. That's the true difference between the R11s and the 1528s is the bass level. It's nuts. And that makes them really cool for music and movies because you can literally turn off the subs. We took the subs out of they're not even plugged up. They're behind us now. We took them out of the equation, and it sounds pretty cool. So there really is. I'm really impressed more with KEF that they didn't get smoked in this comparison.
It's not a massive difference.
Yeah, if you bought one or the other, which I did, then you can't go wrong. But I do appreciate the extra bass. I will say this though, we were talking about it during the movie test, which we'll talk about here now. Dynamics. The Arendal is a smaller speaker than the KEF overall. It's taught in terms of height, but depth and width. The Arendals are massive. I mean, they tower over the Kefs. and you can hear that, even though like the timbre was kind of identical in some ways, the sense of scale is massive. It just sounds a little bit bigger, and it is a bigger speaker, and maybe that's why. But I think, like you said, the waveguide helps that. Now, KEF has a waveguide. It's the little tweeter in the Arendal are the same size. They're both 1 inches, so it's not a difference in size. Okay. The waveguide is obvious on the Arendals because it's a giant oval that they sit in. Around the tweeter, that little circle is KEF's waveguide. So they both have one, but the way that they're shaped makes a huge difference. And the size of the waveguide on the Arendals is probably why things feel so much bigger, which leads me to say the off-axis listening on the Arendals are better. Me and him, a lot of our testing, we were moving around a lot, so we never really sat down a lot here. We kind of walked to the side and we stood over to the left or whatever. So we were all pretty much off-axis a lot. Mm-hmm. And I personally felt like the Arendals were easier to enjoy not sitting in front of them more than the Kefs were. And I think that's because of the different type of waveguide they're using. The coaxial driver, tweeter, mid-range, all in one is a really nice point source, meaning if you sat right here, it's directed to you, it's cool. But Arendals kind of go all over the room. And I like that better, personally. Not that it sounded better, I just like that technology better. Does that make sense?
And I was surprised with the bass that the Kefs even made.
Yeah! I was like, what? When I told him how to turn off Odyssey and do a couple other things, and I pumped some bass into the Kefs. He's like, are the Kefs plugged in? I was like, yeah, man. He's like, I didn't think they had much bass. And I didn't either, honestly. They actually sound really good, but they're not quite full range. You have 1 minute and 45 seconds to tell me which speakers you like better for movies. Go.
I don't know. I think, like you said earlier, when it comes to 30 hertz and below, the Arendals sound pretty good. But I don't know. It's so similar. But the Arendals sound bigger. But I don't know. Neither of them are bad. That's just we played this Transformers scene, and I kind of just forgot we were doing an apples to A/B comparison. I was just enjoying the movie. I'm like, because one or the other doesn't like. Oh yeah, obviously it doesn't stick out. I mean, I heard a lower bass on the Arendals, and I kind of dropped back into reality again. But they both are very immersive in movies. So when you get to this high of a level, I think the margin, depreciating value, goes lower. Yeah, it's like. Man, I mean, you're spending the same amount of money. It's like, does it really matter? I mean, yes, it does. We're making a video, of course, but it's like, goodness gracious, they all are like incredible at this point. Like, you're spending at least $6,000. Golly, they all better be like one of the best. So they're both incredible, and it's really hard to say. And I've got the Klipsch RP8000 Mark IIs back here. We're gonna listen to those off camera, but I'd say the Arendals sound bigger. And the Kefs, I really think the Kefs are meant for like really hi-fi music. Like I don't quite know what genre you played for music, but that's really where the Kefs shine. I think that's really what they were made for. Maybe less movies, I don't know. But the Arendals, I feel like were designed for movies. I could be wrong, but they both sound so good. But Arendals a little bit bigger, lower bass. Bass is what I think for me. Bass is what I buy them for.
Yeah. All right, that's 145. So we've talked about this to each other off camera, so I kind of know, he knows my take, I know his. But everything just seems to be just a little bit better on the Arendals. And I wonder I bet if I had the towers in here, then I think it would be a bigger discrepancy. I think we wouldn't probably make a video. I don't think it'd be worth the comparison. But with these speakers being the same price at the time, if you get the Metas or whatever, if you go buy the Metas, they're the same price. If you go buy the old R11s, they're not the same price. But everything is just a little bit better on the 1528s. Except the bass. The bass is way better on the 1528s. No doubt. But mid-bass, KEF holds their own with mid-bass, almost to the point where we really couldn't tell the difference. There was a couple songs that didn't play much below 35, 40 hertz, whatever, and he played some songs that he's familiar with. And when you A/B switch them, there's points where you really don't tell a difference in the mid-bass or whatever. So KEF actually holds their own with the mid-bass. And they have more cone area because they have 4 mid-bass drivers, 1 mid-range driver or whatever. But KEF holds their own when it comes to mid-bass. For me, when it comes to the high frequencies, the Arendal doesn't seem to play as high, but it is more vivid in terms of like size. So the Kefs, when we switched from the Kef to the Arendals, I was telling them, it sounded like the Kefs are louder on the same volume. But even though the Kefs play maybe a little bit higher in frequency, it felt like the Arendals, it just was grander, if that makes any sense.
Bigger.
So everything just seems bigger on that. I guess that's a terrible way to describe it. Truly, that's the difference. Everything's just bigger. Oh, well, I gave myself a timer. I didn't know it was even on. But anyway, I'll end it there. I think everything's just bigger on the Arendal and just a tad bit better on the Arendal.
I don't think if you're looking for it, like if there was a false wall here, but acoustically transparent fabric, for example, and I brought a couple buddies down here, and I just mentioned like, hey, we're going to do A-B comparison, they'd be like, okay. They'd be like, Bubba, I can't hear a difference. Like people like us who are seeing them, and we've been down here for 3 hours, and we're constantly looking for it. But I think your average person, especially you bring an average person here and have them listen to these. I mean, we've got $15,000 worth of speakers right here.
We actually did bring an average person down here. We brought his mom down here.
Oh yeah,
and we listened to music, and he switched them to the Arendals after listening to the Kefs, and she fell into the music. She forgot that she was coming to listen to speakers.
She closed her eyes.
She literally closed her eyes. We had some really powerful worship music because it has a lot of drums and stuff and a lot of just.
She don't care about how they sound.
She forgot the mission, but just fell in love with the music, and that's what a good speaker does. If it sounded bad, even she would be like, that doesn't sound that great. She probably wouldn't have been so attached to the song as she was if the speakers weren't as good as they are. So that's what they do for you. They just lock you into whatever you're listening to,
either
one,
you're
watching. Truly, either one.
I think what we're discussing right now is like such the small grand scheme of things. Like, okay, here's a little bit the difference, but 90%, 95%, the grand scheme of things. If I could sum it up in one sentence, either one is an exceptional speaker, regardless.
Yeah, they truly are. So if you are looking to purchase the 1528 and you're thinking, I wonder if I should go get the Kefs. Maybe it's not the R11. Maybe it's the reference line a little bit up. You truly cannot go wrong. But if you are somebody who wants to listen to their system with no subs, maybe you have family in the room, other rooms. If you're still in an apartment or a townhouse and you have the money and the space for these, but you don't want to disturb people around you, you can buy the Arendals and truly not miss your sub. But you will with the Kef.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're both very tasteful speakers. If you care about dynamics and scale and largeness, I would go for the Arendals. If you're on a tight space, the Kefs are a little skinny little stick almost in comparison. So you can, even though they're floor standing versus monitors, I think you'll take a less footprint with the Kefs, in my opinion, because Arendal has some requirements for height and distance because of their curve. So at the end of the day, this is just a fun video.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy my system just like I did before I got here. He's going to enjoy his system before I got here. None of this truly mattered at the end of the day. It's just a fun video because I had both. I want to talk about both.
Yeah.
But he has a killer system. If he puts the clips up here, it doesn't matter. Kefs up here, it's a killer system. I did tell him, though, he needs more power. We did notice on both the Kef, even on the clips, and definitely the Arendals, that we need some more juice as far as amplification goes. He does have an amplifier, but we need some more juice. I think it's time. You have some really good equipment in here. It's time to give him as much juice as you can when the time comes. But with that being said, leave me a comment down below and let me know, what speakers do you like? Did you hear any difference on YouTube? You probably didn't. But there's small little details. If you listen on your home theater or put headphones on, you can probably hear some minute changes through my stereo mic. So let me know if you heard anything different. Let me know your take. Kef versus Arendal, which one are you going for? Do you believe the hype? Do you not? Let me know what you guys think down below. Let's thank John Paul for allowing me to take over the house. It's probably the fourth time this year. Third, fourth time this year. So thanks to him for letting me use this space, and we will see you guys in the next video. K-Pace and JP out. Peace.